Hi. I guess so. So, who here has a beer in their hand tonight? All right. Shame on the rest of you. Okay, beer is not flavorless yellow drunk juice. It is every bit an artisan drink as whiskey or wine. And I'm going to make all of you tonight beer snobs. So first you're going to need to know what beer is. It's water, it's malted barley, it's hops, and it's yeast. In fact, in Germany, these are the only 4 elements you can use to make beer, which is why you can't find major American beers in Germany. They're illegal. First, I mentioned malted barley. To malt barley, you soak it in some water and you dry it by kilning it. This is what prepares it to be mashed. When you mash it, you soak it in hot water. It converts the starch into sugar, so you're left with sugar water. You strain out the husks and you boil it, and to it you add hops. Hops are what make beer bitter. They are flower petals covered in a bitter resin. They range in flavor from everything from citrusy and grapefruity to pine to floral. Okay, so you cool off that sugar water with the hops in it. You take the hops out first, and then you add some yeast to it. The yeast are going to eat the sugar, which is going to give off carbon dioxide, which carbonates the beer, and alcohol, which has no known value. Everybody with me? You all know how to make beer now? All right. All right, so let's talk about some styles you might like. Excuse me. Lots of people think that it comes down to whether you like ales or lagers. That's really probably not the case because the only difference between them is the type of yeast you use. Ales use a top fermenting yeast and take about 3 to 6 weeks to prepare, whereas lagers use a bottom fermenting yeast and take about 2 to 6 months to prepare. Okay, a better question to ask is how bitter do you want your beer? Okay, so in the Northwest we tend to like hoppy ales or pale ales. Pale just means hoppy, and hoppy just means bitter. If you want a really pale ale, get an India Pale Ale, an IPA. Why is it called an IPA? Because in the 18th century, the English needed a way to transport beer from England to India, and the best way to preserve beer back then is to add a lot of alcohol and hops. Okay, well, Kuh-Miller-Weiser finds it better to add artificial preservatives than to make a flavorful beer. So that's how they do it. If you don't like hoppy beers, you don't like bitter beers, grab Hefeweizen. They're sweet, they're mild, but they're still really flavorful. They're tasty. But if you don't like them, I don't blame you. I don't really like them either. Grab yourself a Marzen. Okay, Marzen is the German word for March because traditionally they were brewed in March when they were the last brew of the season, back when you really couldn't control temperature to brew through the summer months. So they'd brew them in March, store them in caves through the summer, and they'd pull them. They'd pull them out and they'd pull them out in September to celebrate the harvest and to kick off the new brewing season. That's just one of my favorite big beers, and they're not real hoppy, but man, they're just kicking. If bitter and sweet don't do it for you, grab a roasted Guinness. All right, Guinness is brewed in Dublin. They're celebrating their 250th birthday this year. All right. So what makes a Guinness special is roasted barley. All right. It's what gives it its flavor. It's what gives it its color. And Guinness isn't black; it's red. Roasted barley makes beer red. It's just that we go to low-lit bars and we don't shine light through our beer. Guinness is red. Don't ever let anyone tell you it's black. Everyone with me? All right, you got your styles, you got your beer, how to make it. Now just a few pointers, and you'll be a bona fide pretentious beer wonks. All right, pour it like you mean it. Pour it right down the middle. Get some good foam on it. Okay, the reason to do this is because there's a finite amount of carbon dioxide in every beer, and you can release it by pouring it hard into a glass, or you can release it by pouring it into your stomach and burping all night. The choice is yours. Next, make sure you buy beer that's been stored cold and dark places. Heineken's trademark skunk flavor is not a mark of distinction. It's spoiled beer. The green bottles allow too much light in it. It spoils it. It's not good beer. Right, but don't store it too cold because you're going to want to serve it warm. You're going to want to serve it warm because you can taste it. Wine drinkers, if you're not going to serve a Chateau Lafite ice cold, okay, because you want to taste it. The same is true here. Okay? You serve white Zinfandel cold because it's the shit you don't want to taste. And you serve this shit ice cold because you don't want to taste it either. And if you have to serve it cold as the Rockies, then you need a new beer. That's all I got. Thanks a lot.